Ava had always believed in love, in its beauty and its power to heal. She had believed that love, when it was true, could withstand anything. But now, she wasn't so sure. Her world had shifted, and she was left clinging to memories of a love that had once felt so strong. The room around her was quiet, save for the gentle ticking of the clock on the wall. Each second that passed felt like a heavy weight on her chest. It had been a year since Liam had left. A year since everything had changed. Ava remembered the first time she met Liam. It had been on a rainy day, the kind where the world felt softened by the sound of raindrops against windows and the damp smell of earth in the air. She had been walking through the park, lost in thought, when she saw him standing near the bench by the old oak tree. He had a book in his hands, but his eyes were not on the pages. Instead, they were gazing up at the rain-soaked sky, as if he was trying to read the world itself. There was something about him that drew her in, something quiet but magnetic. She had always been the shy type, the kind of person who preferred solitude, but something in his presence made her feel safe, like she wasn't alone in the world. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he had said, his voice soft but certain. Ava had nodded, unsure of what to say. She was never good with words, especially with strangers, but something about the way he smiled made her feel at ease. They talked for hours that day, about everything and nothing, sharing stories of their lives, their dreams, and their fears. It was the kind of conversation that felt like it had always been meant to happen. It was as if they had known each other for years, even though it was their first meeting. In the weeks that followed, they saw each other more often. They met at the park, at cafes, at the quiet corners of libraries. They shared the small moments of life, the fleeting moments that most people overlooked. And in those moments, Ava felt a kind of peace she had never known before. With Liam, everything was simple. Everything felt right. It was love in its purest form, soft, gentle, and full of hope. Ava had never imagined that love could be so easy, so natural. But with Liam, it was. Their love wasn't dramatic or grand. It wasn't filled with the rush of passion that she had read about in novels or seen in movies. Instead, it was a steady, unwavering presence. It was the kind of love that grew with time, a quiet companion that made her heart feel full, even on the loneliest days. But love, Ava learned, was not always enough to keep two people together. Life had a way of testing even the strongest bonds, and sometimes, no matter how much you cared, the world had other plans. Liam had always been a dreamer, someone with a heart full of ambitions and a mind that never stopped reaching for more. He wanted to see the world, to experience everything life had to offer. He had big dreams, dreams that Ava could see in his eyes every time he talked about them. But she also saw the fear in his eyes, the fear of being tied down, of being confined by the simple, quiet life they had built together. One evening, after weeks of quiet distance between them, Liam sat down beside Ava on the couch. The room was dim, the only light coming from the flickering television screen. He turned to her, his expression serious. "Ava," he began, his voice low, "I think I need to go. I need to see the world, to do something more with my life. I love you, but I don't know if I can stay here, in this small town, with everything feeling so predictable." Ava's heart sank. She had always known that Liam's dreams were bigger than the small world they shared, but hearing him say it out loud was different. It felt like a punch to the gut. "Are you leaving me?" she whispered, the words coming out before she could stop them. Liam's face softened, and he took her hand in his touch gentle but filled with sadness. "No," he said quietly, "I'm not leaving you. But I have to go. I have to find what I'm looking for, even if it means being apart for a while." Ava stared at him, trying to hold back the tears that threatened to fall. She loved him so deeply, and the thought of losing him was unbearable. But at the same time, she understood. She understood his need to follow his dreams, even if it meant sacrificing their time together. The next morning, Liam left. He didn't have a destination in mind, just a longing to explore the world, to find something more than the life they had built. Ava watched him go, her heart breaking with every step he took away from her. But she didn't stop him. She knew that love, true love, wasn't about holding someone back. It was about letting them go, even when it hurt. Months passed, and Ava tried to move on. She returned to the quiet life they had once shared, though it no longer felt the same. The empty spaces in their home seemed bigger now, the silence louder. She spent her days working at the local bookstore, where she could lose herself in the pages of stories that seemed so much more exciting than her own life. Yet, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't forget Liam. His face was always in the back of her mind, his voice still echoing in her ears. And then, one day, she received a letter. It was from Liam. She tore open the envelope with trembling hands, her heart racing. The letter was short, but it was enough. Ava, it began, I'm sorry for everything. For leaving without an explanation, for not being there when you needed me. I've seen so much, learned so much, but I can't help but feel like something is missing. I've realized that I don't want to chase dreams at the cost of love. You were the best thing in my life, and I need to find my way back to you. I don't know if you'll still want me, but I need to try. I need you. Ava closed her eyes, the tears finally falling freely down her face. She didn't know what to feel. Part of her wanted to run to him, to hold him and never let go. But another part of her feared that he might leave again, that his dreams would once again pull him away. But Ava had learned something in the months since he left. She had learned that love wasn't just about holding on, it was about understanding and letting go when it was needed. It was about giving the other person the freedom to be who they needed to be, even if that meant suffering in the process. It was about sacrifice. The next day, she packed her things and went to him. When they reunited, it wasn't with grand gestures or passionate declarations. It was quiet, like the first time they met. They embraced, and in that embrace, Ava felt everything she had been missing. The love, the sorrow, the sacrifices they had made. It was a love that had survived time and distance, a love that had endured the pain of separation. And in that embrace, Ava knew that no matter what the future held, they would always find their way back to each other. In the space between them, there was sorrow, there was pain, but there was also the power of love, the power of sacrifice, the power of embracing each other, no matter the cost, and that was enough.